Good day to you all, and welcome to the course on comparative public administration. We'll be having about 32 lectures in this course, and I am going to be with you for 32 sessions. So I would like to introduce myself to you at the outset. My name is Syed Tanveer Abbas Jafri, and presently I am working as an advisor in the Management Sciences at the ComSat's Institute of Information Technology at the Islamabad campus. I have practiced public administration for over 30 years and held some teaching assignments also during this period. I worked as member directing staff at the Pakistan Administrative Staff College, Lahore, and I've held a number of positions in the field and secretariat, of course, in the provincial and federal governments and state-owned enterprises. A little bit about my academic background. I have a master's in political science from the Punjab University, Lahore, another master's in business administration from Georgetown University, Washington, D.C., and a master's in financial administration from the Catholic University of Louvain, Belgium. And my basic degree is in engineering. I did my bachelor's in electrical engineering from the University of Engineering and Technology at Lahore. So off we go and embark upon the first lecture. Have you ever asked some of these questions? Must have. Very current these days. Why is Pakistan polio-ridden? Why do we have long queues at service delivery offices? Why do you have to pay a bribe to get a license or some other work done? You may do something wrong and get caught for it, but the well-connected go scot-free. Why so? And then, why are not all children getting free education and so many dropouts from schools? Does the state not care about my health? Why have we not been able to control crime and terrorism? All these questions come to our mind, and these are disturbing questions. They reflect the state of affairs of our polity, of our nation at this particular state of time. If we can understand public administration, perhaps we'll be able to find the underpinnings to some of these questions and their answers. And if we study a little bit of comparative administrative systems, we'll find even more answers. Where did we go wrong? What are others doing? How are they administering themselves? What can we learn? What are the best practices? Before we get into comparative administrative systems, comparing those systems, let us look at the concept of public administration and its characteristics. We'll start off with some definitions. हमने चंद सवालात अपने आप से किए और हमें पता चला कि ये सवालात जो हैं आजकल के पाकिस्तान में हर आदमी पूछ रहा है, हर शहरी पूछ रहा है, लेकिन हमारे पास इसका जवाब कोई नहीं है कि हालात ऐसे क्यों हैं। पब्लिक एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन से हम, और ख़ास तौर पर कंपैरेटिव पब्लिक एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन की टेक्निक से, कंपैरिजन से कुछ न कुछ सीख सकते हैं कि इन हालात को कैसे बेहतर किया जाए। Looking at some of these definitions of public administration now, it is an inevitable outcome of the existence of social life with roots in the starting point of humanity. यानी जब से हिस्ट्री रिकॉर्डेड है, जब से इंसान एक दूसरे के साथ रह रहे हैं, पब्लिक एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन किसी न किसी शेप में मौजूद थी। क्योंकि सोसाइटीज ने आगे चलना था, उसके लिए तरीकाकार वज़ा होना था। फिर सोसाइटीज ने अपने आप को नेशंस और स्टेट्स में ऑर्गेनाइज किया। Then somebody had to run the affairs of those states and nations. So, public administration emerged due to the tendency to specialize in governing the state and its peripheral organs. You have to govern a state. There's no other way out. You have to run the affairs of the state and whatever other attached organs there are. और उसके लिए जरूरी है कि कोई सिस्टम हो, कुछ लोग हों। Another concept है, affairs of the government cannot be performed in the absence of public administration. वही बात जो हम पहले कह रहे थे कि आपने एक मुल्क को चलाना है, एक हुकूमत को चलाना है, उसके लिए एक ऑर्गेनाइज सिस्टम जरूरी है और उस सिस्टम को हम पब्लिक एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन कहते हैं। और फिर क्या हुआ है, वही जो हमने क्वेश्चंस पोज किए, progressively increasing expectations have been associated by citizens with governments. जैसे जैसे वक्त गुजरता गया, जैसे जैसे तरक्की होती गई, तो शहरियों ने, सिटीजन्स ने तवक्कुआत वाबस्ता कर ली अपनी हुकूमतों के साथ कि जनाब ये भी होना चाहिए, वो भी होना चाहिए। So in order to cater to these increasing expectations, we need an effective and efficient system of individuals carrying out the affairs of the state and serving the public. So an efficient public administration system can ensure development and welfare of a nation. इसके बगैर मुमकिन नहीं है। अगर आपकी गाड़ी का ड्राइवर ही अच्छा नहीं है तो एक्सीडेंट होंगे। आपकी गाड़ी का वो ख्याल नहीं रखेगा, गाड़ी अक्सर वर्कशॉप में जाएगी। तो मुल्क की गाड़ी को कौन धकेल रहा होता है? It is the politicians and the administrative system. And it is all within the ambit of the Constitution. अब जब तक ये सारा सिस्टम एफिशिएंट नहीं होगा तो तरक्की कैसे मुमकिन होगी और लोगों की खुशहाली कैसे मुमकिन होगी? And on top of that, public administration is primarily meant to serve the public. यह हमें ज़हन में रखना चाहिए कि आम तौर पे हम ये देखते हैं कि एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव सिस्टम्स और ब्यूरोक्रेसी की नेगेटिव कॉनोटेशन है। ये समझा जाता है कि ये अफसरान हैं, बट इन एक्चुअल प्रैक्टिस दे शुड बी पब्लिक सर्वेंट्स, वो लोग जो अवाम की खिदमत करें, वो लोग जो हर किस्म की सर्विसेज अवाम तक पहुंचाएं। So in any setup, in order to make it efficient, you have to make some interventions. You have to ensure somehow that the system is working well. और पब्लिक एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन में भी ये जरूरी है कि सिस्टम प्रॉपरली वर्क करे, एफिशिएंटली वर्क करे और इफेक्टिवली वर्क करे। फिर शायद आपको वो लंबी कतारें नजर ना आए जो हर हुकूमत के दफ्तर में पाई जाएंगी। फिर आपको शायद वो टाउट ना नजर आए जो कई हुकूमत के दफ्तरों के बाहर फिर रहे होते हैं। फिर शायद आपके बच्चों की, मेरे बच्चों की एजुकेशन जो है उसका मयार बेहतर हो जाए पब्लिक सेक्टर में। और जब आप अस्पताल में जाएं तो आपको एज अ ह्यूमन बीइंग ट्रीट किया जाए। सरकारी अस्पताल की बात कर रहा हूं। And majority of the population being poor has to go to the public sector hospitals. There is no other way out. Now, we see all these issues around us, public administrative issues. How much knowledge do we as citizens have about public administration? How many of us know what are the salient features of our Constitution? How many of us know what are rights enshrined in the Constitution and otherwise? How many of us know where we can go for relief if there has been an excess? कितने सिटीजन्स को हमारे मुल्क में पता है कि उनके हकूक क्या हैं? अगर उनके हकूक पामाल किए जा रहे हैं तो उन्हें क्या करना चाहिए? उन्हें रिलीफ कहां से मिल सकता है? तो जब तक हमारी नॉलेज पब्लिक एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन की अच्छी खासी नहीं होगी, यानी हुकूमत कैसे काम कर रही है, क्यों कर काम कर रही है, कैसे चल रही है, हम शायद अपने जायज हकूक भी ना ले पाए। So if a common citizen knows something about public administration, how government works, how the administrative system functions, which organ of the government is supposed to do what according to the constitution. तो उसका बेनिफिट हमें मिलेगा, बिल्कुल मिलेगा. We should empower ourselves. We have to empower ourselves with a knowledge about public administration so that we can stand up wherever a wrong is done. And the action is not according to law or according to constitution or according to norms of behavior. तो ये बेनिफिट्स आम आदमी को हो सकते हैं अगर उसको पब्लिक एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन के बारे में मालूमात हो. एक और कैरेक्टरिस्टिक जो पब्लिक एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन का है, ये स्टेबलाइजिंग फोर्स है. जब भी कभी इंस्टेबिलिटी मुल्क में आती है तो इट इज द पब्लिक एडमिनिस्ट्रेटर्स, द ब्यूरोक्रेट्स, द पीपल हु आर रनिंग द अफेयर्स ऑफ द स्टेट, इट इज देयर रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी to neutralize that instability. Or if there is an emergency, let's say floods or an earthquake, whatever, it is again incumbent upon the civil servant to make sure that the most is done under such circumstances. When there is no government in power or there is a transitory period, it is the civil service, it is the bureaucracy, it is the administrative system, it is the administrators who are running the affairs of the government. And it is their responsibility to provide stability under such circumstances. So, this organization called the administrative system is meant to provide stability whenever things go wrong or due to some reason there is confusion and chaos. It is an instrument of social change. How? Society is undergoing change all the time. Ideas of people change, values of people change, behavior of people change. Sometimes there may be macro changes in a society when it is modernizing, quantum changes. So how does the bureaucracy facilitate or control this change? It is supposed to. जो एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव सिस्टम है, अगर उसने एफिशिएंट और इफेक्टिव होना है तो उसको सोशल चेंज फैसिलिटेट करना होगा. जिस सिमत में सोसाइटी जा रही है उसको फैसिलिटेट करना होगा, उसको कंट्रोल करना होगा अगर गलत सिमत में जा रही है. और पब्लिक एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन और सोशियोलॉजी का और सोशल वर्क का बहुत ही डीप कनेक्शन है. Because both sociology and public administration deal with human beings, about human beings and how they organize themselves into groups, into families, into administrative systems, into governing systems. So the philosophy is basically the same. Theories of organization and social change are equally applicable to both public administration and sociology. Regulatory administration. The government, the administrative system has to regulate certain things. It cannot let the market go wild. Market mechanism may be a good thing to promote. It might bring in efficiency in the allocation of resources. But many a time monopolies and other malpractices occur. So the regulatory part of the government, of the administrative system, tries to regulate such behavior at the organizational level most of the time. So we see in governments a lot of regulatory bodies. They are in the United States, they are in Pakistan, they are almost everywhere. One of the roles of any modern government is to regulate. And regulation can be seen as strict, can be seen in the forms of strict disciplinary organizations like the police trying to establish law and order, or PEMRA trying to regulate the media in our case, or the various tariff fixing bodies like OGRA or NEPRA, in our case in Pakistan. The United States also has a lot of regulatory commissions and bodies. These agencies play a similar role. Facilitator of the economy. Economic development becomes a reality, and the economy grows fast if you have an effective public administration system. You are governing well, you are planning well, you are implementing well, you are facilitating the private sector in such a manner that it becomes competitive, not only internally but also in foreign markets. You are expediting trade and commerce. You are making those 5 years plans and 20 years plans and Vision 2020, whatever. ये सब चीजें जो हैं, अगर सही तरीके से आपका एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव सिस्टम लेकर आगे चले तो हमारी माशी ग्रोथ बहुत स्पीडी हो सकती है. एक इफेक्टिव और एफिशिएंट और फैसिलिटेटिंग और रिस्पॉन्सिव एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव सिस्टम इंश्योर करता है गुड इकोनॉमिक ग्रोथ. और भी फैक्टर्स हैं, but this is one of the major factors too. And public administration has been transformed these days due to technology. We talk about e-governance. Singapore is one of those countries which has really climbed the ladder and is at the top of the learning curve, perhaps, as far as e-governance is concerned. You can do a lot of things online. पाकिस्तान में भी अब शुरू हो गया है. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, अभी आप टैक्स रिटर्न्स भी फाइल करते हो ऑनलाइन, और एक और जो इम्पैक्ट होता है टेक्नोलॉजी का कि वो ज़्यादा ट्रांसपेरेंट कर देती है पब्लिक डीलिंग्स को, बिकॉज मोस्ट ऑफ द टाइम देयर इज less interface due to technology between the service provider and the public, and hence less chances of rent seeking or bribery. तो ट्रांसपेरेंसी आ गई है due to technology in the public sector. So there is no harm in speeding up the introduction of technology in whatever manner possible in the administrative system of a country. Responsible for welfare activities. जब grassroots level पे administrative system ने services provide करनी है, that means you are responsible for welfare activities. You are responsible for any programs which are trying to uplift people. It could be a poverty alleviation program. और अगर आप एक वेलफेयर स्टेट हैं तो वहां आपकी और ज्यादा रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटीज हो जाती हैं. The administrative system, the public administration is providing those welfare activities and services directly to the populace, and as such assumes a greater role in that area. Now we'll look at some definitions of public administration. First one, public administration is concerned with the administration of the government. Very straightforward. We talked about it before कि हुकूमत के काम, affairs of the state चलाने का नाम ही public administration है. यानी वो अमूर जिनका तल्लक हुकूमत से है उनको हम पब्लिक एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन कह सकते हैं. The activities of the executive branches of the national, state and local governments. ये हर्बर्ट साइमन साहब कह रहे हैं. वो कह रहे हैं कि आप जब बात करते हैं पब्लिक एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन की तो एक तो आप 3 लेवल्स की आमतौर पे बात करेंगे कि नेशनल लेवल पर क्या हो रहा है, प्रोविंशियल जो हमारे यहाँ जैसे प्रोविंसेस हैं या स्टेट्स अमेरिका में हैं उनके लेवल पर क्या हो रहा है, और लोकल गवर्नमेंट जैसे कि हमारे यहाँ डिस्ट्रिक्ट काउंसिल हैं या नाजिम्स हैं उनके लेवल पर क्या हो रहा है. और उनके लेवल पर बेसिकली हम फोकस कर रहे हैं एग्जीक्यूटिव फंक्शंस पे. प्राइम मिनिस्टर क्या कर रहे हैं एट द नेशनल लेवल, मिनिस्टर्स क्या कर रहे हैं, सेक्रेटरीज क्या कर रहे हैं, उनकी एक्टिविटीज. इसी तरह स्टेट या प्रोविंशियल लेवल पे, लोकल लेवल पे मेयर्स क्या कर रहे हैं, नाज़िम क्या कर रहे हैं. So the activities, let's say, of the judiciary or the military are not covered by public administration according to this particular definition. Now Woodrow Wilson, a very clear-thinking person who contributed, apart from his great historical contributions, towards the discipline of public administration a lot. He says, public administration is detailed and systematic application of law. Every particular application of law is an act of administration. यानी आपने लॉज बनाए हुए हैं या रूल्स और रेगुलेशंस हैं, और जब आप उनको इम्प्लीमेंट करते हैं या अप्लाई करते हैं तो उस एक्ट को आप पब्लिक एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन का एक्ट कहेंगे. असल जो पुलिस वाला है वो एक लॉ के तहत, पावर्स के तहत वहां खड़ा हुआ है. ही हैज बीन एम्पावर्ड बाय लॉ to check traffic, let's say, and give tickets, and he is doing that. So that is an act of public administration. And now this is a comprehensive one by Marshall E. Dimmock. He says, it is concerned, that is the public administration is concerned, with the what and how of the government. With the what and how of the government. हुकूमत क्या है, कैसे बनी है, खद्दो खाल क्या है उसके, किसके पास कितनी पावर्स हैं, व्हाट ऑफ द गवर्नमेंट एंड हाउ ऑफ द गवर्नमेंट, उसने क्या करना है, वो कैसे कर रही है, एक्टिविटीज क्या है, पब्लिक एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन कैसी है. सो वी हैव टू सी government's influence in all aspects of life. What being the subject matter or the technical knowledge of a field, sari fields, that enable the administration to perform its tasks. यानी अगर आप एक एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन कर रहे हैं, लैंड एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन कर रहे हैं, आप रूरल या अर्बन लैंड की एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन कर रहे हैं, तो आपको वो सारी नॉलेज होनी चाहिए लैंड मेजरमेंट के बारे में, लैंड राइट्स के बारे में, लैंड एक्विजिशन के बारे में. सो दैट इज द नॉलेज रेलिवेंट टू अ पर्टिकुलर फील्ड, स्पेशलाइज्ड नॉलेज, टेक्निकल नॉलेज. दैट at the other level is the what of the government or the what of that department, and the how is the technique of management, the principles according to which it is done. So you have the knowledge, but you have to use that knowledge, your skills in that area. So knowledge and its utilization. How are you going to do it? The management part of it. तो ये दोनों चीज़ें जब कंबाइन होती हैं तो मार्शल ई डिमॉक कहते हैं कि आप पब्लिक एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन कर रहे हो. एक बंदे के पास उसकी फील्ड का स्पेशलाइज्ड नॉलेज भी है और उसको ये भी पता है कि उस नॉलेज को इस्तेमाल कैसे करना है. That becomes public administration. So it is at the departmental level and it is also at the government level when you aggregate all the departments. Another big name in public administration, EA, he says, the real core of administration is the basic service which is performed for the public, such as police, we talked about this before, and protection, public works, education, recreation, sanitation, social security, agricultural research, national defense and others. तो इन्होंने यहाँ एक पूरी लिस्ट दे दी है उन कामों की जो हुकूमतें करती हैं या कर सकती हैं या करना चाहिए. और हम देखते हैं कि जब हम हुकूमतों को करीब से देखते हैं and we would try to list out the departments or ministries, so there you are. You will find these same names over there. Education, health, social security. Of course there is, on the other side, the economic planning part and the financial regulation and the financial control part, the taxation part. But according to him, that part is not so important. He is talking about law and order, security, social services, agriculture, the backbone of many economies, agriculture, national defense, and so on. I.D. White says, it consists of those operations having for their purpose the fulfillment or enforcement of public policy as declared by competent authority. Now he's brought in the concept of public policy. Public policy is formulated primarily by the politicians, and it may reflect the promises made by political parties before coming into power, because now they have to implement those promises through making policies. So according to White, implementing those policies is what public administration is all about. So who's the competent authority in this case? It would vary from policy to policy. Sometimes for the operations involved in implementing that policy, the competent authority may be the minister or the administrative secretary. Then John Pfaffner says, public administration consists of getting the work of government done by coordinating the efforts of people so that they can work together to accomplish their set tasks. So, in this case, we have a number of people working together, and they have a set of tasks given to them, clear-cut, defined tasks, and they are being coordinated to carry out those tasks. तो ये सारा जो process है, it can be called public administration. बात वही है, but the different people, different authorities are looking at it from different angles. So, यहाँ पर वो बात कर रहे हैं, कोऑर्डिनेशन ले आए हैं बीच में, कि बहुत सी पॉलिसीज को इम्प्लीमेंट किया जा रहा है, बहुत से एफर्ट्स हो रहे हैं, लोग कर रहे हैं टू इम्प्लीमेंट दीज थिंग्स, जो टास्क्स उन्हें दिए गए हैं. तो क्या इनकी कोऑर्डिनेशन भी हो रही है कि नहीं? बिकॉज coordination always is necessary and produces better results. So, the work of the government has to be coordinated amongst the various organs or the ministries or the departments which are manned by these people and which are mandated. Those organizations have been mandated with certain tasks, and these people have been told to meet certain objectives. So, this whole organization has to be coordinated, and a coordinated effort will bring better results. And on the academic side, you can call this a field of study which prepares civil servants to manage such activities, the state activities. यानी एक तो असल पब्लिक एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन है और एक उसकी आप कह रहे हैं थ्योरेटिकल या टेक्निकल साइड के आप सिविल सर्वेंट्स को, ब्यूरोक्रेट्स को ट्रेन कर रहे हो, प्रिपेयर कर रहे हो अब उनके काम के लिए, चाहे वो जनरलिस्ट हैं चाहे स्पेशलिस्ट हैं, आप उनको एक ख़ास किस्म की प्रेपरेशन करा रहे हो और इस सब्जेक्ट को, इस प्रोसेस ऑफ प्रेपरेशन को, जिसके बाद उन्होंने स्टेट एक्टिविटीज़ मैनेज करनी है, आप इस फील्ड ऑफ स्टडी को, इस प्रेपरेशन को, इस डिसिप्लिन को पब्लिक एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन कहते हैं. So, it is multidisciplinary in character. It is multidisciplinary. हमने वो लंबी लिस्ट देखी थी जो of the kind of works which you are supposed to do. So they are economic, they are financial, auditing is involved, Planning is involved on the economic side, on the social side, all kind of social welfare activities, education, health, control of different kind of diseases, drugs, you name it. So social side. And then the regulatory side is also important. So multidisciplinary. And we cannot forget the law and order and security and military side, the defense side, the civil component of the defense side. तो इसमें अब कई कंपोनेंट्स आ जाते हैं स्टडी के. आप सर्टेन ऑर्गेनाइजेशनल थ्योरीज को सामने रखकर पब्लिक एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन को स्टडी कर सकते हो. जैसे पहले मैंने कहा, ऑर्गेनाइजेशनल थ्योरीज, सोशल थ्योरीज, थ्योरीज ऑफ सोशल चेंज. फिर आप पॉलिसी एनालिसिस का एक अप्रोच ले सकते हो. The policies which are being prepared or formulated, you analyze them. How good are they? How effective can they be? And then you can look at the human resource management. कि क्या हुकूमत की जो सिविल सर्विस है, ब्यूरोक्रेसी है, is it well managed? Who is managing it? What is the system? How is it being disciplined? How is it being held accountable? और उसकी एथिक्स क्या हैं, उसके मॉरल्स का लेवल क्या है. डू यू हैव अ एथिकल पब्लिक एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन? डू यू हैव अ एथिकल एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव सिस्टम और अ एथिकल सिविल सर्विस? दीज आर थिंग्स व्हिच मेक अ डिफरेंस. एट द एंड ऑफ द डे, ethic makes a lot of difference. An ethical civil servant will treat all equally, very much in spirit with constitutional provisions and rule of law. So we cannot undermine the role of ethics in public administration. So it can also be a diverse field of inquiry with the goal of improving functioning of the government. वही objective हमने जिसकी पहले बात की थी. Efficiency, effectiveness will improve functioning of the government overall. So public administration can also be considered as a discipline or a field of inquiry which tries to investigate how the functioning of the government can be improved. So we are looking at the theoretical aspect or the theoretical definition of public administration now. And then, we talked about this before also. It has to cover all tiers of the government, federal, regional, local, community, etc. So there are public administrators at the federal level, the central level. There are public administrators working at the regional level, the local level, the municipality level, the community level. And we have to look at the powers delegated to these tiers or powers given to these tiers by the Constitution or delegated by the competent organizations or persons. So when you are talking about public administration, you are talking about a study of all these tiers of local government. And another approach is that public administration emphasizes on the quality of human resource, supervision and outcomes. You cannot have proper outcome Again, that efficiency and effectiveness we talked about. Unless and until your human resource is of good quality, of great quality, and properly supervised, held accountable, held responsible. So public administration can be viewed as a subject which emphasizes the quality of human resources and their output in the system, in the public administrative system. Now let us look at two very interesting issues: policy formulation and policy execution. Why do we need policies, and where do they come from, and how do they get implemented? In order to do anything coherently and systematically, you need a policy. You need planning. You need policy formulation and planning, followed by policy execution. तो वो पॉलिसी कौन फॉर्मुलेट करता है? प्राइमरी रोल जो है पॉलिसी फॉर्मुलेशन का वो पॉलिटिकल पार्टीज का और पॉलिटिशियंस का है। पॉलिटिकल पार्टीज के मैनिफेस्टोज में आपको मिलता है कि वो किस किस्म की पॉलिसीज लेके आएंगे जब वो पावर में आएंगे। और जनरली सीनियर ब्यूरोक्रेट्स जो होते हैं, सीनियर सिविल सर्वेंट्स जो होते हैं, they are advising the politicians in these matters and sometimes even take on the task of policy formulators in case of a vacuum. तो सीनियर सिविल सर्वेंट्स भी इसमें एक इनपुट देते हैं और बाकी स्टेक होल्डर्स को भी देनी चाहिए। ऑल रेलेवेंट स्टेक होल्डर्स, मसलन अगर एजुकेशन की पॉलिसी बन रही है, universities are the stakeholders, schools are the stakeholders, teachers are the stakeholders, students are the stakeholders. In fact, when you talk about education, every citizen is a stakeholder. तो पॉलिसी फॉर्मुलेशन में स्टेक होल्डर्स की इनपुट बहुत जरूरी है। अगर आप ट्रेड पॉलिसी बना रहे हैं या इंडस्ट्रियल पॉलिसी बना रहे हैं तो वहां जरा लिमिटेड स्टेक होल्डर्स हो जाएंगे, वो चेंबर्स ऑफ कॉमर्स हो जाएंगे या कोई स्पेशलाइज्ड वेस्टेड इंटरेस्ट ग्रुप्स हो जाएंगे, जो भी हो। लेकिन अपने मैनिफेस्टो में शायद पहले ही किसी पार्टी ने कह दिया हो कि मैं यूनिवर्सल एजुकेशन इंश्योर करूंगा, कि मेरी पार्टी जो है वो इस सेक्टर को, इस पर्टिकुलर इकोनॉमी के सेक्टर को या ट्रेड को बहुत ज़्यादा एम्फोसिस देगी, इस पर्टिकुलर ट्रेड को या एग्रीकल्चर को। तो जब आप पावर में आते हो, यू हैव टू फॉर्मुलेट पॉलिसीज टू मेक दोज प्रॉमिसेस मटेरियलाइज। अगर आपने कहा है कि आप एग्रीकल्चरल आउटपुट को में क्वांटम इंक्रीज ले आएंगे या वीट को आप सब्सिडाइज करेंगे या आप बिजली को सब्सिडाइज कर रहे हैं, तो दैट हैज टू बी थ्रू अ पॉलिसी फॉर्मुलेशन प्रोसेस एंड देन इट्स एक्सिक्यूशन। आपने वो बातें इंप्लीमेंट करनी है, और वो किसने इंप्लीमेंट करनी है? बेसिकली द सिविल सर्वेंट, द पब्लिक एडमिनिस्ट्रेटर, उसने करनी है। So, the role of the public administrator as part of the administrative system in a country is primarily to execute and implement policies provided. ये एक पुलिसमैन हो या एक टैक्स कलेक्टर हो या वेलफेयर वर्कर हो, ये सब लोग जो हैं पॉलिसीज को इम्प्लीमेंट करने के लिए हैं और कर रहे हैं। एंड it is right from the lowest tier of the civil service to the topmost. They are supposed to be policy implementers. And they are responsible, their primary duty, responsibility is to execute policy, to implement policy. अब पॉलिटिकल साइंस का और पब्लिक एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन का बहुत ही नेक्सस है, चोली दामन वाला साथ है। In fact, I would go to the extent of saying that they are two sides of the same coin. Although, theoretically, political science pertains to the mechanisms of getting into power and maintaining that power. और जब आप थ्योरेटिकल बातें करते हैं तो आप बात कर रहे होते हैं स्टेट की, कि किस किस्म की स्टेट होनी चाहिए या स्टेट के कैरेक्टरिस्टिक्स क्या होते हैं, नेशन स्टेट का क्या कॉन्सेप्ट है, सोवरेनिटी कैसे बनती है एक मुल्क की, इरोड कैसे होते हैं सोवरेनिटी, आपने सोवरेनिटी को प्रोटेक्ट कैसे करना है, ये सब बातें हमें पॉलिटिकल साइंस बताती है। इफ यू लुक एट आवर कंट्री टुडे, we can feel that the sovereignty is eroding. और फिर आप सिस्टम ऑफ गवर्नमेंट देखते हो कि आप स्टडी करते हो the different systems of government which are possible, and in this particular course we'll be looking at those systems of governments. We will be looking at the constitutions of these countries and looking at these distinct systems of governments being followed, the parliamentary system, the presidential system. What kind of a system is prevalent in Japan? What kind of a system is prevalent in France? We do know a little bit, generally people do know about the US or UK, the systems prevalent there, especially UK, since our system, our administrative system and our bureaucracy is modeled on that of the UK. But do we know about some very interesting systems which are being practiced in countries like Japan and France and Korea and Thailand and the Philippines? There is a subject also called comparative political science, which deals with these things, looking at different political systems in different countries. Like we'll be looking at different administrative systems in different countries and trying to compare them. Actually, since public administration is running the affairs of the state, and public administration provides you with the wherewithal of doing so, यानी आपको पब्लिक एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन, आप समझ लें कि प्रैक्टिकल साइड है पॉलिटिकल साइंस की। पॉलिटिकल साइंस बताती है हुकूमत कैसी होगी, कैसी हो सकती है, और एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव सिस्टम उस किस्म की, हर किस्म की हुकूमत को चलाने का एपरेटस है, थ्योरी है, डिसिप्लिन है। ये थ्योरी और डिसिप्लिन आपको बताती है कि आपने किस किस्म का एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव सिस्टम इस्तेमाल करना है और कैसे करना। That's why I'm saying that there is a nexus between the two. Perhaps they are the theoretical and practical sides of the same coin. ये तो हमने तकरीबन बात कर ली पब्लिक एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन एंड पॉलिटिकल साइंस। Public administration deals with theories of administration, principles of management, and techniques of policy formulation and policy implementation. तो पॉलिसी फॉर्मुलेशन, फिर उसकी इम्प्लीमेंटेशन, और आपने जो इम्प्लीमेंटेशन कैसे करनी है एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव सिस्टम के थ्रू, उसमें फिर आ जाता है कि उस एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन को, एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव सिस्टम को किन थ्योरीज पे बेस कर सकते हैं हम, और वो कौन से प्रिंसिपल्स ऑफ मैनेजमेंट हैं, क्या वो तरीक़ाकार हैं मैनेजमेंट के, अच्छे से अच्छे मॉडर्न टेक्निक स्किल्स हैं मैनेजमेंट की, जो कि एक पब्लिक सेक्टर ऑर्गेनाइजेशन को या पब्लिक सिस्टम को या पब्लिक एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव सिस्टम को बहुत ही एफिशिएंट बना सकती हैं, और वो बात तरीके ऐसन आगे चलता है. The public administrator is responsible for implementing the policy formulated by the politician. We already looked at this in some detail. The administrator also advises politicians in matters relating to policy formulation. Why so? Because the administrator has been in that field for a very long period. He knows the ins and outs, the nuts and bolts of that field, and therefore can be considered as being in a very good capacity to advise the political master as to how things can be evolved into better shape, what other interventions can be made in that area, how can things be improved, how can results be obtained, because he has the experience behind him. So the administrator, the senior civil servant or the senior bureaucrat is very much in a position to advise the politician. And the politicians generally take the advice seriously, because they may not have that much knowledge or no knowledge at all. They may be amateurs, new to that field. So they have to rely upon the bureaucrat, the senior civil servant, for input into policy formulation also. And then, of course, the lower rungs and also the senior civil servants implement that policy, go ahead and execute it. सोशियोलॉजी की हमने बात की, आपके सोशल ग्रुप्स होते हैं और उनके आपस में इंटरैक्शन हो रही होती है, फिर सोशल इंस्टीट्यूशंस होती हैं आपकी, उसमें फैमिली, सोशल क्लास, सोशल ग्रुप्स हैं. हम देखते हैं हमारे यहाँ वी हैव अ होल रेंज ऑफ heterogeneity in our society. There are ethnic groups, there are religious groups, there are groups based on baradris and families and whatnot. Then there are professional groups also, they can be considered as social groups too. And then they become vested interest groups. So when you become a vested interest groups, you pressurize policy making. And as a institution of the society, the family, the social class, the social group, you need services from the administration. You need the protection of the administration. So there is this linkage, very important linkage which exists between social groups and public administration. And the social change aspect we already talked about, that public administration steers or can steer social change, should welcome social change in some cases and not try to maintain the status quo as it tries to do within its own internal organizations. Let the society progress, expand, liberalize. Then few, let's say, sub-disciplines of public administration. We'll talk about development administration in some detail at a later stage. It's very important, especially for developing countries like us. So that is a specialized field of how you can develop your country, and historically how countries which got independence tried to model their development on their colonial masters' examples and tried to emulate their administrative systems, or were told that if they emulate those administrative systems, they will develop faster because they are colonial, because those colonial powers had developed due to the presence of such administrative systems. Then international administration, it's a global village now. You talk about the UN system or the World Bank or these huge not-for-profit organizations, Oxfam, NGOs. You can have a closer look at their working if you study international administration and appreciate how they are contributing towards present-day world. Area administration. You may like to specify on certain regions. You may like to focus on those regions and see how area administration differs from one region to another, and how to go about bringing effective administration to diverse areas. Infrastructure administration, very important. As part of development, you got to have your roads, your bridges, your telecoms, all kinds of services, all kinds of infrastructure. Perhaps telecom is the infrastructure of this century, the real infrastructure, the backbone nowadays. So infrastructure administration, how can public administrators develop infrastructure in the best possible manner? And last but not least, comparative public administration, which is our subject, which is the title of a course. Comparative public administration brings new insights when you carry out these comparisons between different countries. And one hopes that looking at the best practices elsewhere, we do in our country succeed in replicating at least some of them. And I'll end with a small quote here. Modern comparisons are possible. Now we are talking about comparative public administration. Modern comparisons are possible across the deepest division of system types. The extremes may be authoritarian, pluralist systems industrialized systems, developing systems, secular divides, religious divides. So you can make comparisons vis-a-vis all these divides, all these diversities. Study the whole spectrum and evolve something for better. Thank you very much.